That we've got Safe Grafke. We've got a few special guests for tonight. Safe, I will let you introduce your co-host for the evening. Take it away.
Absolutely. Well, welcome back, race fans, to TNT, the Tuesday Night Tune-Up. We are so excited to have all of you joining us here on Facebook, and this man definitely is going to get the Long Haul Trophy, the award for longest haul to come to be on our show tonight. We have Wade Aunger with us. Wade, thanks for joining us here on TNT, the Tuesday Night Tune-Up.
It's long-time listener, first-time caller. I love this place. This is such a great building. What a great coffee shop. And Oski's a cool place. Aussies know where Oskaloosa is because of the Front Row Challenge. And up until recently, the Redneck Rally.
Yeah, we were. That was fun to have you there, and
wow,
I was hoping to get you in the side-by-side with me, but
yeah, nah.
Chris was worried that you wouldn't like that too much.
I know your name is Safe. That doesn't mean that I would feel that way with you in a side-by-side. That monster truck jump was significant.
Was it?
That was my first experience, and Chris Overgaard, obviously I know Chris,
yeah.
Who's beautiful, that beautiful voice he's got.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize he was a Redneck Rally race announcer.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an experience, that event. It was good hanging out with Chris Mettinger, and my great friend Matt Stutzman was there, and his beautiful fiancée Jess Wasson was there as well, and it seemed like there was a lot of pretty girls making really obscure relationship life choices, and I'm pretty sure there was a lot of parents crying themselves to sleep at night.
Well, but
they seem like they're having fun.
You can say that really almost about any racer, though, right? Can't you? At the end of the day,
I think the Redneck Rally takes it a little further, Safe.
I would say you're probably right on that one. So, Wade, you hail from Australia. You've been coming over here for quite a few years now. For Knoxville Nationals, and now you kind of have extended that stay. You do a lot of stuff in the IMCA world, with the Super Nationals and different things. And for those that don't necessarily know you, or maybe this is their first time, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and what brings you to the States?
So it's funny because I get pigeonholed a lot with the sprint car thing.
Yeah.
Of course, being able to, to have some fun with Tony Bockhoven and the team at Knoxville Raceway every year is probably a way that people would think, oh, he's a sprint car guy. The reality is, Safe, that I just love anything in a left-hand dirt circle.
Absolutely.
To be honest with you, I don't care if it's modifieds or stock cars or hobby stocks or midget racing or modifieds, like East Coast big block modifieds. It doesn't matter to me as long as they're going in a left-hand direction and taking tear-offs. So principally, majority of my dirt track work is sprint car racing announcing. I live in a place called Mildura in Victoria in Australia. It's about 6 hours drive northwest of Melbourne. Most people have heard, and for Americans, it's Melbourne. A lot of people say Melbourne. You guys say the words the way they're actually written. We're just very lazy. When you say Brisbane, Americans say Brisbane. You actually pronounce it. There's going to be a test on this later, Jared, by the way, so make sure you remember these things. So I was born in Western Australia. I'm from Perth, and that's where I grew up watching dirt track racing at a place called Claremont Speedway, which was like Western Australia's Knoxville. Big fairground sort of showground track, and I just went with my granddad and my dad, my papa, and started to go there and just got that obsession, that smell, the lights, the sound, and it became, principally my life. So my dad was in the armed forces, so we would move every 2 years. We'd go to a different part of Australia or a different country, and finally came back to live in Western Australia when I was 15, and sort of just lucked into an opportunity to start writing articles. And my boss there at the time, the promoter, Con Migro, who's one of the icons of Australian motorsport and speedway, he offered me a job and said, do you want to announce? And I'd always announced model cars around my bedroom floor, Hot Wheels cars and stuff, but never actually had dreamed that I would one day be an announcer. And so in 92, I made my first trip to America, came to Knoxville, and went to the Beertown Showdown in Hales Corners, Wisconsin. It got rained out both nights. That was fantastic. Went to Eldora, and I remember saying to an old guy I met in the parking lot at Hales Corners, I said, is Eldora as fast as they say? And this old guy leans in, he goes, hell, man, when you're in turn 2, you better know what you're going to do in 3 because you're already there.
Oh, my
and I was like, ooh, that sounds like a cool place.
Yeah.
So we went to Eldora, and in 94 and 95, I actually announced at the historical big one, back when it was a four-night deal.
Yeah.
And just sort of got to know more people and just try to get on the microphone wherever I could, up in Delaware for the URC races and New Jersey and places like that. And became really good friends with one of my best friends in Mississippi that races late models in Mississippi, because there's only two S's in Mississippi.
That's true.
And so it just 92, 94, 95, 96, 98, 99, 2000, 2007, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, missed 21 because of COVID, right. 22, 23, 24. So I've been coming to America since 92.
So you've been coming here longer than I've been alive. I hope that makes you feel good.
Thanks for that. Safe. I've been to 42 states now.
That's more than me.
Yeah, a lot of people say that.
You win.
A lot of people stay in America. They either travel a lot safe, or I've had people that have never been out of their own state.
I know.
You know, they've never seen the beach or things like that. And I have a great friend in Craig Ford from Pella Motors, and you know, Craig Ford here as well, and Craig Chevrolet, who loans me a car. And the first time he loaned me a car, I put 14,000 miles on it in 2 months. And I remember coming back to him, and he went, "How many miles did you get on that thing?" I went, 14,000. He goes, "I figured you put 12 or 13, so that's okay." And then last year I put 17,000, which is the equivalent of driving across Australia and back 4 times.
That is nuts.
Yeah, but you don't notice it so much, Safe. Like,
right.
I just turn up Hair Nation. Like,
there you go.
And get going with Hair Nation. And I love the country. I don't get tired driving in America.
Right.
I love the cornfields, and I love the barns and the old farms and the flags and the John Deeres or the cases everywhere. And so I love the pride that you have in your country. So I don't get tired. I just go, I feel like I've driven onto a John Mellencamp, you know, music video everywhere I go. And it's a privilege to travel this country. It is one of the most beautiful places in the world.
Yeah, and then, you know, you have all the great tracks, all the historical dirt tracks, and, you know, that's a nice thing. I've been fortunate enough, you know, lived my whole life here in Iowa, so
wow.
I've been to almost every single track here, and it's just amazing how many tracks are in this state, you know, and you have IMCA, USRA started here, USMTS, you know, and the history is so deep.
Yeah, it is.
That's the best thing about our next guest. I'm going to give you a little background here first before we bring him up, because otherwise I know he won't say a single word because he'll be embarrassed. But so our next guest is Jarrett Vandenberg, and he is part of a very large, deep, rich history tree here. So his brother is Carter Vandenberg, who currently owns a car. He'll either drive it or he'll put his cousin in it or someone else. Carter has won the Boone Super Nationals in 2013 in sport mods.
Yeah, nice.
His dad, John Vandenberg, is the only one that is qualified for the Knoxville National A-Main in sprint cars and in late models.
Ooh, that is cool.
And then you go on the other side of his family, his grandpa, Jimmy Carter.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
There you go. Pennies dropped.
So Jimmy Carter and his son BJ, who raced go-karts for a long time, grew up and they owned Reyes Speedway right outside where Tony Stewart got his first ever go-kart win.
Yeah, wow.
And then, you know, then Jarrett's cousins, who are Caden Carter and Braden Carter, I don't think there's really any much more need to say than that, you know, 2 of Southeast Iowa's best dirt track racers right now in sport mod, modified and stock car. So you want to talk about some deep, rich racing history, and it's that. And then he has another part of his family too, his other cousin, who is Dylan Van Wyck.
Oh wow.
So a lot of family there to unpack for you. So yeah, we're really excited to have Jarrett with us here tonight. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to bring Jarrett up here to talk more about his new racing adventures in just a few moments.
Alrighty, we are doing TNT again. We are live from Smoky Row in downtown Oskaloosa. We do thank all of our sponsors for making our broadcast possible each and every Tuesday night. That includes Milo's Tree Service. Get a hold of Chris Minter at 641-683-2627. We thank Sinclair Napa. Go to sinclairnapa.com. Of course, they've got a brand new location in Sigourney. We do thank James Family Greenhouse and Produce. You can find them at 701 East Jackson in Sigourney, Iowa. We thank Christy Tarr, your American Family Insurance agent in Oskaloosa, Team Tarr at amfam.com. Then we've got Sigourney Body Shop, located at 210 Clark Street in Sigourney, Tony and Yvonne Pitch. We've got Sigourney Motors for sales and service. Give them a call, 641-224-8056. And Sigourney Tree Care, owned and operated by Zeb Webb, 641-622-2097. Let's take it back to Safe and a whole screen full of folks on Tuesday Night Tune-Up, live from Smoky Road. Safe.
Well, welcome back, race fans, to TNT, the Tuesday Night Tune-Up, and we have, a young man here who we've seen race here in the past. He took a little time off here, managed to do some important things in between, like getting married and all the fun stuff there.
The dangerous stuff.
Yeah. The dangerous stuff, yeah, as they call
Buying
it.
a house. Yeah,
You bought a house, too. Holy cow. Well, the one and only driver of the number 7V, the 22V, he just drove the number 4 car in the non-wing sprint cars out at the Southern Iowa Speedway, Jarrett Vandenberg. Jarrett, thanks for coming on and talking to us tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, like we've been talking, your family history is really deep in racing. So what does that mean for you, with your dad, John, with all of his success, your brother, Carter? What's that been like for you?
It's been pretty cool. I mean, just recently I was helping my neighbor. She's 92, and she was like, "So who's your relation and stuff?" And I was going down my family tree like you just were, and I was like, "My grandpa's Jimmy Carter." Oh, so you're into racing, aren't you? So I mean, that's pretty cool. Somebody that's never even been to a racetrack knows who my grandpa is. So that's pretty cool. Or you go to the racetrack, you want to be a Vandenberg or you want to be a Carter because, they were the top dogs for many years. So,
yeah. So when you were racing more heavily in the sport stuff, what were Thanksgivings like at the house? I mean, you guys always raced each other, pretty tough. What was Thanksgiving like?
It was more so just more competitive. My grandpa's got a pool table in the basement. So we kind of just put some wagers on that. It really wasn't much racing. It was more just competitive in games and board games and whatnot. We played the game called Spoons. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, where you put spoons down on a table and you play some cards, and then once you get 4 in a row on the deck, you grab a spoon. Well, we had fights, and we're brawling it out. It's pretty crazy.
So Spoons was more aggressive than dirt track racing at the house?
At times it was.
Wow.
Yes, yeah.
That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy.
You didn't ever play a game called Bats or anything like that, did you? Where you had 4 baseball bats laid on the table and shit got real.
We should have.
Here's a spoon. Whack. It's kind of different if you're like,
Oh, my.
I mean, you might have tried that this Thanksgiving, You can call that Aussie Spoons. I'll let you, okay?
Ooh, and you could patent pen that and start selling it.
Aussie Spoon. Well, we have Boone Spoons at the IMCA Super Nationals. That's a thing.
You do.
When you draw a Boone Spoon inversion out of the Casey's bucket,
that's
you
right.
have a Boone Spoon, which is your inversion. I would say that there's probably 2 parts of your story. You're either A, really fortunate that you are in that family tree, which helps to bring you into the sport, but there would also be a degree of pressure not to suck.
There's that, yes.
You know what I mean?
There's a fine line.
He ate a lick on his grandpa. That kind of stuff.
There's definitely a fine line because so far I've gotten in a few different cars in the past 3-4 years. Starting from a sport compact, I had a friend of mine, Dalton Sowers. We were sitting around on a bonfire and tossing the cold ones back, and he was like, "You want to get in my car for the fall challenge?" And I was like, "Never been in one, but I'm sure I'll do fine." Well, started on the front row of the A main, and I was getting passed and coming out of 3. I ended up, I think, 8th. I had a fun time. It just wasn't my cup of tea of driving. They go in there, they're running into you, kind of just racing you a little dirtier than what I'm used to. And then Got in my brother's car there. Didn't do the greatest in the heat race. Ran a B main, won that by over a straightaway. So I'm like, man, I need to get another car. So fast forward to now, I ended up buying a sport mod. I was going to tell you this.
What?
Ended up
You
buying a
waited
sport
till
mod.
now to tell me this?
And
That's called an exclusive, Safe.
I guess so. Wow.
You know, is the wife pregnant? Is there anything else that we should know at this
I
point?
mean, yeah. Is there any?
Like, while we're here, you know, busting out things. I mean, you know,
yep, bought a sport mod and
that means no, apparently.
I would say
got
not.
the wheels turning there in that department, not another department.
Oh
You
boy.
can hurry home. You don't have to be here too late.
Yeah. Did you get one of those good cheater crates?
That's where my
Oh, that's where we were
That's
going
where-
next.
that's
See,
where I'm hung up is the motor department. I don't know because there's a fine line on what you want. Do you want an open or do you want a crate? And for me anyway, I got to start from scratch. I don't even have a trailer. I don't have anything. I sold it all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
right now is I got a car, full roller, and kind of just building off of that. So once you go down one route, you got to stick to it because you got to buy different gears and different carburetors. You got to buy different things for each motor. So
Right. So, you know, we have like the Lucas Oil Longhorn chassis series, and it seems like now the sport mods are becoming like the Rage series. Did you buy a Rage?
No.
Or what'd you get for a car?
2016. I'm not going to say the make.
Oh,
yet.
come
I haven't
on.
really
Are you kidding me?
just-
Are we going to go down that road?
Yeah, tonight we are. Yeah.
But it's not a Rage.
Get the spoons. Somebody get a spoon.
Dakota can tell us. He knows.
I don't even remember.
You don't remember.
Sure.
Give us a
Suspicious.
hint. Does
Can
it
you-
start
can you
with
give us a
B
hint?
or like, you know, what is it?
It starts with an H.
With an H. Johnny Spore.
Nope.
No,
Not a spa.
doesn't start with an H.
Uh,
It's got Hurricane.
a performer?
Harris. It's got to be a Harris.
Nope. It's not a Harris. I used to have Harris.
Jeez.
Nope.
Oh, I'm out now. That's it. Anyone's
is it Hustler?
Close.
Ooh. Okay. We'll stop there.
So are you going to go crate?
That's kind of what I'm gearing towards.
I would. You're a homeowner, right? You got some financial realities.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with crates. Are great.
No.
There's nothing wrong with crates, mate. Until you can afford a crate is great, mate. That's what you need to have on the back. You know how Boone they always have.
Yep. On
You know,
the
like something on
filler
the back
panel,
there?
just put
There
crate
you
is
go.
great. Yep.
And then you have to put Wade's face next to
Oh
it.
no.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, people running into you all the time.
Oh, that'd be great.
You know what? Like, just do what your budget can afford. I think we get too hung up on having everything we have tied up in what we race.
And you know what? That's been brought up on the show a lot, Wade, is the cost of where racing is right now and how sanctioning bodies are kind of starting to step in with some of that. And, you know, we had Keaton Gordon. He runs a hobby stock here. And, you know, just talking about the price of shocks now for a hobby stock, you know, $1,300, $1,200 when you used to buy the set of Bilsteins, a whole set out of like the Carl Performance Booker from Performance Bodies, and it was like $200. So now we have this new era where technology is advancing so fast, and we have that additional cost now. How sanctioning bodies are going to, I would assume they're going to start stepping in a little more to help out with that, because it is getting harder to race on a budget. And again, obviously the crate motor is the way to go for a lot of budget guys.
This might be a
know.
controversial thing to say because I've had a couple of methanol moonshines. My fear is race suits, fire suits. I would rather see you save the money on a motor and get the best fire suit and helmet you can.
Exactly.
Because I see a lot of racing, you know, fender racing and stuff like that, and some of those guys are wearing stuff you go, "Whew, if that thing gets upside down and barbecues a little, you just, that's the one thing that scares me a little bit about some of the racing that I see in fender and you know, modified and stuff like that racing. So I figure get yourself as safe as you can, get a good quality crate, go and have at it.
Yep.
Go home to, you know, work every day, you know, when you go and race the next
to
day.
your wife.
Be safe.
Yep.
Yes, be
Right.
safe.
You know, I know nothing about that side of it, but I see some guys with race suits, and you go, boy, that thing's like, you know, got
Oh,
a
I agree
t-shirt
with that.
underneath.
Yes, I've
Yeah.
seen it. Yep.
We saw a thing. There was a midget that got started up just recently. It was on. It's all over Facebook. The guy just like,
Yeah,
woof.
like 2 nights ago, I think.
And I know we're not dealing with methanol in a lot of these cases, but you know, pump gas, any of that stuff can light you up. You know, and not in a good way. You know, we all want to get lit, but not like
Right.
that. You know.
And having a safe car is very important too. I mean, we had it earlier out here at the Southern Iowa Speedway where a hobby stock started to barrel roll, and the engine and transmission came out together as one. I have never personally seen that happen, except for a hard enough hit, but there was like no mid plate.
Well, AJ Moeller
that
at Knoxville
car or
last
anything.
week, he flipped on the weekend, and the tail tank, he flipped in turn 4. The tail tank ended up in turn 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Knoxville's a long straightaway. What was the non-wing car like to run that? That's a massive,
Yeah, that was the next thing,
massive
yeah.
step aside from running stock cars.
So I kind of just went in it guns blazing. I didn't even know how to start it.
Was it 360 or
yeah, it was a 360. Yep.
That still get you in trouble.
Yes,
Awesome.
yes. I'm sure you know Mike Mayberry.
Oh, he's a
So
gun, mate.
he's the car
Track
owner,
champion.
and then Frank's the motor guy. He supplied the motor. So Mike went to Mexico, and we were just kind of talking about it, jokingly on if I would run it and whatnot. And I kind of said yes, and I kind of said no, and I was like, you know what, I'm kind of it's up in the air. And then he finally said, well, if you're gonna do it Wednesday. I'm not gonna be there. And so fast forward to Wednesday night, I'm like, we need to start this thing in the pits because I don't know. I didn't know you had to shut the fuel off. I didn't know you had to do. There's quite a bit of things you got to do.
Yeah.
Well, we get all that figured out. I get on the track and I want to start in the back. I'm doing a couple good laps, and I feel like I'm hauling. I'm racing by myself. And AJ Johnson comes next to me, and he blows my doors off. But luckily, it was white flag. But man, I was like, I feel like I'm keeping up with him, But it was fun. I mean, it was definitely way more horsepower than what I've ever been in, and it definitely something I want to do again. That was.
There's no disrespect either. I know that late model people and stock car guys and modifieds are like, sprint cars, tumble bunnies, and then the sprint car guys call the late models like, mud turtles, and there's always that back and forward stuff. But the reality is there might be something one night that you learnt from being in that non-wing car when you're on a gut slick racetrack somewhere and you peel that thing in and you just go, it just catches and you go, it's a muscle memory thing. They're two different disciplines, but sometimes it's just about laps in anything.
Yeah, that is for sure. And I don't know. I just got to thank Mike Bayberry. That's
He's a
very
cool guy.
cool opportunity to have.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I've been supporting him all year at Knoxville, and hopefully he wraps up the championship with the 305s. And he's pretty close. I think he's 71 points ahead, leading it. So, that's going to be
Yeah,
crazy
and I
when he wins
forget-
a second championship. So.
And I feel bad. That is your other side. That's the side of the family he married into.
Yep.
His wife Taylor is Mike's daughter. So he is part of that.
Boy, you are grandfathered in, aren't you, mate?
You want to talk about, again, those racing roots in
Yeah.
him. They branch out very far, and a lot of success for him.
I was
all
trying to
of
get
those
my head
drivers.
around this the other day because I'm trying to catch up with Dallin Murdy, like the game changer.
Yep.
And his old man's a badass as well. And Dallin's a hell of a racer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, mate, let's just catch up. We want to do a promo shoot for Super Nationals and stuff. And I'm like, when are you free? And he's like, well, and he just peels off. He's basically racing every night except for maybe 2 or 3 in the summer.
Wow.
And that's Iowa. That's a good example of stock car racing and modified racing, and people just don't realize how big IMCA is. And I tell my friends back in Australia, Super Nationals is a beast. Like, it's 7-8 nights in a row. This is 80 modified heats, 80. When I first saw it, I was like, why is it called Super Nationals? It's Super Nationals. Well, Nationals is the biggest, right?
Right.
And then you go, how's it Super Nationals? And I went, ooh, I see. 12 hours of racing a day.
Well, and now you look at it this way. Stock car racing has taken over by storm. You have these huge payouts. You have the XR series, high payouts.
Yeah.
And it seems like all of a sudden we have this switch from modified racing to stock car racing.
Stock cars are rock stars, mate.
They are, and
They're
they are
so
They are
cool. Their
taking
front
the world
wheel
by
off the
storm.
ground,
Yeah.
they're badass. And I love the shape. I love that old, that sort of square Monte Carlo kind of shape about them. I take the videos back from Super Nationals, my friends in Australia, and I go, watch this, mate. And modifieds are running 11 rows of 3
Yeah.
in the A main.
It's
And
nuts.
5 wide at Boone, 5 wide. And I tell my friends in Australia, the only track in the world, when I jump off the flag stand to run across the track, I have to look both ways to check I don't get run over by 2 school buses. Because that's how they farm the track.
Yeah.
They farm the track with 4 or 5 John Deere. They have a couple of Packers, and they have Flo and Mingo, these inflatable flamingos.
Yep.
It's a trip, mate. It's like Walmart on wheels. It is such. It is
Walmart
so
on
much
wheels.
fun. But it's
That needs to be on. If someone doesn't do that at Super Nationals, I swear I have a sign where it says Walmart on wheels, then I'm not coming.
But it's real. It's real safe. You know, that's,
is,
That's
it
the thing
is.
I love about it. It's real people. Nobody's trying to be anything. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's guys that have a lot more tied up, and you know how that works, right? There's a budget and there's budget, but everybody is there because it's like, hell, I just want to race. I want to race Super Nationals. There's guys that have on the back, I'm just here for the strippers and the steak sandwiches. You know, others is like a fat girl at prom. I'm just glad to be here. There's all these incredible statements on the back of the cars. I'm a huge fan of IMCA racing. It's really caught me off guard.
And that's what I love about Super Nationals is you could have a guy where he is, you know, kind of like Jarrett on a very strict budget, making the A main, being in the top 5 because of the size of the track, but the opportunities because of how the heat races are. You know, we had a local guy here, Tommy Lathrop. Tommy is always trying. I mean, he's just one of those guys. He shows up and he gives it all. And he won a heat race? Was it last year or the year before at Super Nationals?
I'm pretty sure it was last year. Yeah.
No, I would have met him then because everyone that comes through the middle comes to see me.
He had the Vikings
on
one side and then the Hawkeye. Yeah.
Yep.
So, he was one of those guys, he tries as hard as he can. He's on a very strict budget.
You know the coolest part about it, though, is the only thing that's yellow at Boone is the corn. Because if you spin out, you better get your ass out of the way because the yellow isn't coming out for you.
No.
They haven't got the time for that, right? So I do, and I love that. You know, everyone says that it's not the biggest paying race in America, but the stuff you win, like whatever it pays, plus all the the Speedway Motors, incentives are huge. So, and working with Jerry and Ryan, I don't know how much you've been around Jerry, but that's who I just left. That's why I was late. I was hanging out with Jay Van, and that's just like a trip.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Him and Ryan Clark are two of the best announcers that I've ever worked with. So, so is it stock cars and modifieds? Was it Fender Racing and modifieds because that's the way your family went? Did sprint cars never occur to you, or because they're huge here as well?
Well, his dad raced sprint cars.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely, not just racing, but wrenching on them, and
I think it's more just like a safety deal. I mean, they thought they were more safe in a modified or stock car because I mean, you see sometimes sprint cars do get over, and it's sometimes not a good outcome. And modifieds, I mean, it's a little more forgiving. I mean, and that's kind of where we came from. Where with my grandpa, he's always kind of had a modified in the shop. I mean, But my dad, he dabbled in the sprint cars and the late models, which someday I want to get into a late model eventually.
Yeah,
and
late models are badass.
I will interrupt and say that John Vandenberg in the comments is saying that needs to be in a sprint car.
Oh. So not a late model. You're going sprint car racing, it sounds like, buddy.
Just write the check, John. Write the check.
Yep, if you could fork the bill.
Just do these ones, mate. You'll be good.
I'm sure that Mike might be able to make that happen.
I don't want to rely on Mike. He's got his own thing going, and he's doing good at that.
He is.
So.
No, absolutely.
I was more worried about junking his stuff Wednesday night. I don't want to do that. And that's another thing that's tough about racing with somebody else, and that you don't really own much on the car.
Right.
I couldn't, get out of the car after you just junked the operation. Sorry, mate.
Yeah.
Well, it happens that way.
Yeah.
It's true.
It does happen that way.
But, so did I tell you Friday I will be jumping in Carter's car at CJ?
You will be at
There's
Columbus
another
Junction.
exclusive for you, Safe.
There we go.
There's another-
I love it. Press breaks.
My dad mentioned that in the comment. I was like, well, better get
That's
that out there
awesome.
too. Yes. Yep.
Columbus Junction is one of my favorite tracks. I don't know if you've ever been there yet, Wade.
No.
Definitely got to put that on your hit list. They run Friday nights. Fantastic track. It used to be a half mile. They cut it down to a 3/8.
Yeah, right.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, they go in 1 and 2, and the track is pretty wide there. And it narrows on the backstretch, and there's grass, and then it's a levee, and it goes down to the river.
Is there
and
a
they
fence?
run up. No fence. And they run up in the grass to pass someone there. It is the craziest thing. You want to talk about pure southeast Iowa dirt track racing? Columbus Junction, that place is a riot to go
Like
to.
that, no shoes, no shirt, no problem. Seems like a lot of tracks I find in the Midwest is like no fence, No problem.
Yeah, we got a levy.
You have to have a safety fence and a concrete wall or a timber wall, something in Australia. There are no tracks in Australia where you don't have a grading system for insurance, and Speedway Australia make sure it licenses you to run a certain class. You can't just go to a fairground and, hey, come on everyone, let's go race. And I think it's not that we're doing it right, but it's somewhere in the middle would be good.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like somewhere literally where you have some sort of safety level or something. I went to Webster City years ago, right? And there's only a main straight wall at Webster City.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember saying on the microphone, this is Webster City, where if you get it wrong, you're a 4-wheel chainsaw. Because there was nothing but forest on the backstretch.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you got it wrong, you were going in the trees. But that's just the way that you guys have all grown up here. No one has the money to spend, millions on catch fences. You just don't go there, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot different. And, Jarrett, you and I have had a lot of fun. We both traveled with your brother a lot racing, and it's just so awesome to me to see you getting back in a car, doing something you're very passionate about, because, being around you for the amount of time I have, you have an incredible story. You're an incredible young man. You come from this amazing racing history.
So don't suck.
And we're just, yeah. But
Good luck, don't suck.
Yeah.
Results will come. I just need
They
a little
will.
more seat
I mean-
time. And that's what I told Dakota back there. I told him, I'm like, man, I haven't been in a car competitively for 4 years, and I'm jumping in a 360 non-wing car. I mean,
What could go wrong?
Yeah, nothing can go wrong. I don't see any issues.
I wouldn't worry about Dakota. It spent him half an hour to try and get the door open to get in the studio before. Is he a Cyclones fan or something? It took him a long time to operate that door handle. Let's go Hawks.
But no, so we're really excited to see this next step for you, Jarrett. Again, I've been honored to be able to be around you and your family as long as I have, and we were talking earlier about some of the wonderful memories that we have on the road helping your brother Carter out, and again, we're just excited to see what happens. I assume you're going to be the 22V again.
yes, in my
Okay.
car, yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. So I didn't get that wrong. So that's good. Out of one thing tonight, I got that right. So
Yeah.
I'll take that. So again, Jarrett, good luck to you, and maybe we'll see you in a sprint car. John, start signing the checks.
Yes.
I'm sure if anyone could get the sponsors, it would definitely be your dad. So
Yeah, he's a talker. That's for sure.
he is. He is.
He's a
Yeah,
talker.
absolutely.
That helps.
So
It is.
If you can
It
be a
does.
wheeler and a dealer in this country, that helps.
It does, and I definitely need the sponsorship.
there you go. So race fans, that's going to wrap up our interview portion here with Jarrett Vandenberg. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and Wade and I will be back with the juice next.
All righty, thank you, Safe. We are doing the Tuesday night tune-up TNT. We are live from Smoky Row in Oskaloosa, and we do thank our sponsors for making things possible tonight. That includes Milo's Tree Service. We also thank the likes of Sinclair Napa, as well as James Family Greenhouse. We got Christy Tarr, American Family Insurance on board, as is Sigourney Body Shop. We got Sigourney Motors, and we've got Sigourney Tree Care, all bringing our Tuesday night tune-up, TNT, live from Smoky Row here in Oskaloosa. Boy, you guys look a little bit lonely. Safe, scooch over to that way just a hair. If you want to scoot in just a hair, maybe a little bit, and we'll bring you. I'm bossing you guys around. That's right. I'm the boss here.
As long as the
Tuesday.
selfie rings don't go out.
We're making you look beautiful.
I've never been to a podcast before that had selfie rings, Safe.
Welcome to this. So,
It's
one
intriguing.
thing I want to talk about with you, Wade, is we really haven't talked about that whole lot. You're an entrepreneur yourself, and you have started this amazing business with methanol moonshine. And why don't you tell us a little bit how that all started? Because I am quite interested in that, and I know we'll talk about it here in a little bit too on another show. But I am curious on the backstory and the history to methanol moonshine.
It was COVID. It was flat out COVID.
Really?
Yeah, that's what caused it. I was in my hometown of Mildura, and I'm an announcer for race broadcaster, and my friend who owns a distillery, a gin distillery, he rang me up in April 2020 and said, "What are you doing?" I went, "Nothing. I'm watching every one of my jobs get cancelled." And he said, "I've got this vodka that we make called Stay the F at Home vodka. Maybe you could promote that on your socials and I'd give you a percentage." And I was like, vodka's not really a racing drink. It's not, but it's not like something you associate. I said, "Can you make moonshine?" He's like, "Hell yeah, we can make moonshine. It's just unmatured whiskey, effectively."
Yep.
And so I just said, "Well, I like alliteration. So, Safe slams it in Syracuse. Wade wows them in Wyoming."
Yeah,
that
there
sort
we
of
go.
alliteration thing. And obviously with methanol being our fuel, I was like, just this name popped in my head, methanol moonshine. So I said to Steve, "Can we make that?" And he had a bottle of Prohibition gin next to him, and it had some old guys inside the bottle and the label, old Prohibition people. And he said, "Maybe we can put race cars inside the bottle." And I was like, that's an interesting idea. So we basically went to the printer and said, "Can you make a label that has the label facing inwards with race cars?" And within 2 months, on the 8th of June, we launched it in Australia and just started mailing out. Every month we had a new legend that we would honour, a legend series bottle. And it was Kendra Jacobs here at the Knoxville Raceway that said in 2021, "We have to have this at Knoxville." And I was like, "I don't know how we're going to get it to you because you can't mail it to America. We can mail it everywhere else in Australia." And so we just, through a friend of a friend, Jason DeWall up in Sioux City, Iowa. We were talking about Brooke Tatnall and the car because Brooke Tatnall drives the DeWall car.
Yep.
And he said, I'll find you a distiller in Iowa. That's probably the only way you can do this. And he found a place in Spencer, Iowa called Century Farms Distillery. And I rang up Amanda. She had a bit of an idea I was going to call. And I said, g'day. Can you make moonshine? And we literally had 2 months to do it. I had to get federal approval to run the name because they thought that if you use the name methanol, it would imply that there was methanol in it. We still get people send us messages go, if you drink methanol, it's going to kill you. And it's like, yeah, mate, it's okay. We get it. It's a brand name that we created to align us with speedway racing because we call Dirt Track Speedway. And that's pretty well how it all started. And that was 2 weeks ago. And just yesterday, we finally broke through to have it in e-commerce so that we can now ship to 40 states.
Amazing.
So it's been it feels like it's taken forever, but really it's only been 3 years. But it's been the dirt track industry is so beautiful. Like everyone wants to support us and they all say to me, "Is it you or is it are you just working for them?" I'm like, no, it's my ass. It's me working on it with a partner distillery we have in Spencer, and it's going well. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I think it's great, and I have a couple bottles that I have at home.
I appreciate that, Safe.
Not
Thank you.
opening them.
I know.
I just
people collect them. Yep.
Yeah, that's the cool thing. You can either you either drink it, keep the bottle, or just don't open them and keep them because of those beautiful illustrations on them. And I think that's the one thing about dirt track racing is no matter what path, everyone can find something.
Yeah.
In dirt track racing.
It is a beautiful community. It really is. And particularly America. Like the Midwest the people of the Midwest are so kind and so genuine, and they literally would say, "Have you got somewhere to stay?" Like me, 2 minutes. Like, "Hey, where are you staying?" It's like, I'm 5 hours down the road, or I'm 3 hours. Well, come back to our place. Wife will cook you dinner, and it's like, that's the kind of friendship that we have with Americans, that you have a beautiful, genuine community of people in this country.
Yeah, like anytime I see a sprint car team like, "Hey, we're looking for a place in the area," I'm like, "I got a massive shop and everything. If you want to come park it at our house," and it'll happen soon. But a lot of them are like, "Well, we're looking to get a little closer to Knoxville, but if not, we'll definitely come to Oskaloosa."
It's
So
only
I'm like,
30 minutes away.
I said, absolutely. I said, just pop out. I have the shop all open if you want to use it. And they're like,
that's cool.
Wow, it's cool that people they're like, "Wow, we thought this was going to be really hard, but tons of people."
Especially not
start
this
messaging.
area, Safe. This is sprint car heaven.
Yeah.
Iowa is, and I get it all the time when I fly into LA or a place like that. Americans will say to me, "You're not from around here, are you?" And I say, "No, I'm from Australia." "Oh, where are you headed?" And I go, "Iowa." And they go, "What are you going to Iowa for?" And I'm like, "Mate, Iowa is the sprint car capital of the world."
Yeah, no clue.
And IMCA racing and all those other things too. So for me, Iowa is America.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing here. We're so welcoming, and real quick to throw out how I got started. I don't talk about this a lot necessarily, but my mom teaches in Knoxville.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I've been fortunate enough to have a mom in the school system up there, and for a long time at the school she taught at was North Star, and her assistant was Tony Schilling's mom. And Tony, obviously a longtime Knoxville regular, and so one time they had some extra shirts, and Tony gave one to my mom to give to me. I was really little. I remember she brought this on, and she's like, "Hey, I don't know if you'd be interested in this." I'm like, "Whoa,
Yep.
what is that?"
Yeah,
Because I never had
started
anyone to take me to a race, and she's like, "Oh yeah, Becky, it's her son Tony. He races these sprint cars." I'm like, "I want to go to one of those." So
And you're hooked.
yeah, so mom told Becky. Becky got us tickets. I met Tony, and
Yep.
so then that year for Christmas, all I wanted was a Tony Schilling diecast. That's all I had on my Christmas list, and Tony was never big enough to
Yeah, have one. Yep.
get one. So we went to Walmart when they sold diecasts.
Yeah.
He found a Jack Hodenshield car.
Oh, wow.
He took all the labels off.
The man. Yep.
Made his own with
Oh,
a
wow.
hero card, and it was in my stocking the next morning, and I was
That's
the
cool.
happiest kid ever.
Yep.
And now I'm hooked.
Yeah.
But that's the thing
all it
around
takes.
here is that's the great thing about drivers, and I don't think a lot of fans or a lot of people realize, they might look rough and tough, or sometimes when they interview, they might have an attitude, but they're the most genuine, caring people. And, we had the whole situation with Ricky Thornton where SSI, him and Todd, they parted ways very unexpectedly, and then, they had a race at Burlington that we used for the Slocum 50, and Stevie and Brandon Shepard said, "Hey, get in one of our cars." And then Kohler comes on board. He's running now on arguably one of the greatest late model teams, and now he has Chris Madden, Smokey, being his crew chief. I mean, I don't know if there could be anything to stop that team now.
Well, he's a
Except
phenomenal
for
racer.
Jonathan Davenport.
He's a phenomenal racer anyway. I mean, he beat Jonathan Davenport at the late model nationals
Yeah.
last year. Like, he smoked everybody, like clean
I know.
sweep. So he's a heck of a racer. And he's a Boone guy. He came out
Yeah.
of Super Nationals.
He did. He's from, Iowa, up in the Altoona area. And,
Good racer.
And made his
Well,
name.
great
And-
racer.
Yeah, and then we have another Iowa star here, Brett Moffitt, who we have seen in the
Yeah.
NASCAR World and the Camping Truck Series
Yeah.
and all that. And now he is going to be in a sprint car
Yeah, that's
at
cool.
Knoxville. For the
And you
Nationals.
have Tommy Johnson Jr.
Yeah.
You're not far from here from Ottumwa, one of the world's best nitro funny car drivers. So it's and you have Chase Van Zandt, who's doing a hell of a job in pro stock motorcycle out of
Yeah.
Pella. So there's a great motorsport culture in this region.
And we have a lot of great Aussies around here, too. A very good friend of mine and a good friend of yours, too, Jamie Moyle.
Great
The
motor builder.
guy that made me try Vegemite. And I'm shocked that I'm still alive after that. Him and Kerry Madsen dared me one night
Yep.
at his shop to
Yep.
try it.
Yep.
And I have so many regrets from that still. I'm sorry. It must be a very
Safe.
acquired taste.
I had a pickle cupcake 2 days ago in Knoxville, so you can cry me a river about eating Vegemite.
Are
That-
you kidding me? That was yeah, but you went to Kay's. She can make.
Yes, she can, but
She
that
can make
wasn't one of
anything.
them. That was horrific. That had pickle juice through it. It had a pickle on top.
Oh.
And a fan or a customer suggested she make it. Americans have a very unique relationship with food, Safe.
I don't know if we have anything as unique though as Vegemite.
Oh, yes, you do.
How about this? I'm sure there are people watching and they're either Googling Vegemite right now, or they're really lost. Why don't you tell us?
So the problem
what that
is with that, Safe, is that most Aussies will take the piss out of you. They'll put it on like peanut butter, right? Or Americans will take it with a spoon or their finger, right? So the way to have it is on bread or toast with a lot of margarine or butter, and you scratch it. You scratch it across, right? Now my ex-mother-in-law, she puts it on that thick. Like people can eat it really thick, but it's more margarine or butter, and you scratch it on, and on toast. Oh, it's so good, and it's good with avocado. Like it's a yeast.
So maybe I need to
extract.
try it the right way.
Oh, absolutely! You got smoked. Those guys. Moyley saw you coming.
He always does.
Yeah, he's a cool cat.
He is.
He's a cool cat. But you need to apply it in a. It's all about the ratio,
Okay.
right?
There you go. So anyone at home,
Treat it like wasabi. Okay.
there you go. Okay.
Right, so
okay.
you don't just go in and hoik a teaspoonful of wasabi out, do you?
Right.
If you do, you
yeah, that's true.
you're better than I
Okay.
am.
Okay, I'll give you that. But we have we have Jamie Moyle, we have Skip Jackson,
Yep. Kerry and Ian Madsen.
Kerry and Ian.
Linton Jeffrey.
Yeah,
Brooke,
Linton.
Brooke Tatnell. Like, Brooke lives up in Minnesota
Yeah,
these
but
days.
still,
But
he's
Scott
close
Boguski, who's doing a hell of a job as well.
Yeah.
I literally shot an interview with Skip Jackson last night for about 45 minutes for YouTube and talked about when he first came here in 94, he's won his first race in the twin 20 lappers, and he went on to become a track champion. Ian Madsen was a 2-time track champion. Kerry won there. Max Dumsney was one of our legends that came here as well.
Yes.
There are so many. Trevor Green, Peter Murphy, who lives in California these days. Australian sprint car racing is Gary Brazier, Jordan Brazier. It goes on and on. James McFadden is the hottest property in Australian racing in America right now.
He just won a race. Couple
Yep.
last week.
Yeah, did a great job in that outlaw, second only outlaw A main for him, and did the Shoei, which is another Australian.
And he did that when he won Front Row Challenge last year. That was
Yep.
That was quite a sight to see.
That's actually been around a few years now, where you just pour your beer or whatever you're drinking into your boot or your shoe, and you just drink it out of that. And when he won the other night, I said, "Yeah, you coughed and you sort of spat. There's a nos out." He said, "I actually had a rock in my boot. And I didn't realise." So he's done that and almost choked on a rock.
Oh,
so that's
boy.
why he spat it out. So I asked him to clarify that.
Okay, well that's good. At least we know that
Yeah.
he's okay, so that's good.
Mate, J-Mac is a he has been a phenomenal racer. He raced in a series that I promoted. Well, before that, he would sneak into the pits as a 12-year-old in the back of the truck and just mount tyres and things like that. His dad used to race. His grandparents on both sides raced in different forms of motorsport. His grandma and granddad on both sides.
Oh, that's awesome.
So J-Mac's a little bit like Jarrett. He's got motor racing in his blood. And he lives in the outback. So Americans always say to me, "Oh, you live near the outback?" I'm like, "No, I'm kind of in the country, but not in the outback." Whereas J-Mac lives he's born in a very remote part of Australia in the centre called Alice Springs. He's based out of Warrnambool when he's not now, and Warrnambool's on the coast. Most of Australia's on the coast. But J-Mac's done a phenomenal job. He's definitely one of the best drivers in the world.
That's the thing I like about him. You can tell that he is from more of that, and I'll relate this more to U.S. terms, is kind of that middle of nowhere, like the woods.
Yeah.
Kind of like if he were from, like Montana or something like that. Kind of
More
that,
Arizona.
yeah, kind of that tough, rugged exterior, but
Yep.
he has this great personality, and he can figure that car out like no one else. So
Well, he's an
that's-
engine builder as well. A lot of people don't realise he did his apprenticeship with KRE Engines, and he's very hands-on with the car. And now he's a phenomenal talent. He's very popular in Australia. He's got his young family on the road. He's taking a big risk being on the road doing that stuff. He's great friends with Sheldon and Jacob Allen and all those sort of guys. So there's a great respect between American drivers and Aussie drivers.
Yeah, no, there is, and it's cool in the winter when those guys come to Australia.
Yep.
I have yet to make that trip. I hope to here.
Safe. Everyone
Maybe
tells
you can
me
help
that.
me out with that.
You just got to do it, mate. You just got to say.
There you go. Wade's going to send me to Australia.
January, February, when you're freezing your ass off here and you're up to your armpits in snow, it's 100 degrees in Australia.
I'll take it. I'll wait for the plane ticket from
It's
you.
perfect opposite seasonal. Steve's going to pay for that. It's going to be like how loud
There
he
you go.
laughed
Methanol
then.
moonshine will bring me over.
When he laughed very loud then. It was like a Steve Martin. Like, that's not going to happen.
We never know.
It's a 24-hour trip. That's the thing that scares Americans, is that literally by the time you fly out of Des Moines, it's roughly 24 hours. But it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it.
Oh, totally.
I'll trade you sponsorship of this show for plane tickets to Australia. How about that?
Ooh. So we're going to have...
Come back to you, Steve-O.
Well, there we go. There we go. No, I mean, it's just awesome to have, someone like you over here. And, as heavy as I've got into dirt track racing, I used to own a page called Dirt and Asphalt. My best friend and I did, and Alex and I, and from that I've done a little
Yep.
of the commentating at races on radio, and now that's turned into me doing some announcing. And you know, I look back at the people that I've listened to and watched, and you've always been one of those. So it's very awesome for me to be able to sit here
Thanks, mate.
and talk racing, and you know, like Jerry Van Sickle
Jerry.
and you know, hearing from some of these guys have really helped
Yep.
me out in my path with announcing, and I think that's going to continue to grow and grow, and I really enjoy doing that. But I want you to do this, even though we don't have an audience here. This is my favorite thing because I don't get to hear this all the time, and I think it's really what really shows you is doing your famous Aussie, Aussie, Aussie chant. And Steve has no clue about this. Steve hasn't been around you ever to know
Okay.
this. He's very new to dirt track racing. He never knew anything about it until this show.
That's why I have Safe leading the way.
You're always safe when Safe's around.
So I think we need to teach Steve the famous
It's
Wade
kind
Osgood
of it's an Aussie thing. It's only something that I borrowed from other, you know, everyone in Australia does it at the cricket or the football or, you know, whatever, but it's a war cry. It's like the thing is that the announcer will say, Aussie, 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 and the crowd calls out, oi, oi, oi.
Yeah.
And you'll go, Aussie, 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 and they go, oi, oi, oi. And then you go, Aussie, oi, Aussie, oi, Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. But the response at Knoxville is phenomenal. They really do
It
yell
gives
it
me
back.
goosebumps.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. American race fans are great, Safe. They're so involved and they're so enthusiastic, and they just want to be part of it. They want to raise their beer. They want to woohoo. They want to hell yeah. They just want to be involved, and that's one thing I love about American race fans.
I think the craziest thing is about American racing is the loyalty to the sport. Like Alex and I went to Eldora one year to the King's Royal, and we took a tent because it was $5 to camp at Eldora. Cheapest you can camp anywhere.
Yep.
So we take a tent. Not all the pieces to the tent were there, so we had to drive to the nearest town, which is like a half hour away. We bought the last
Probably
tent
Sydney
they had.
or somewhere. Yep.
Yes, Leanne.
Sydney. Yep.
And we buy the only tent they had, and we get back, and there was a huge thunderstorm rolling.
Oh,
we get it.
beautiful.
So luckily, there was a group of guys around us. They were all about 4 or 5 deep and selling them cheap.
Yep.
They helped us set our tent up because they were like, "Oh man, the storm's coming. You need to get this thing up so it doesn't get wet." And just that, you know, having these people help us, but then
Genuine. Yep.
and it ended up being the hottest week at Eldora ever.
Oh, good. Excellent.
Perfect timing. So 2 nights we slept in my mom's car with the AC on all night, and I would have to wake up every once in a while and hit the gas pedal because it would start getting warm in there because the AC couldn't keep up. But it was
This is a
it's
visual
like,
image here,
I
Safe,
know,
that I'm
but
struggling
the thing
to cope
is,
with.
we were so dedicated to being there that it's like, you know,
I get it.
all this stuff goes wrong, but we're gonna persevere through because it's like, then we get to the track and we start watching the cars, and it's like, this is the greatest thing I've ever been to. You know,
Yep.
going to Knoxville is one thing. Going to Eldora, it's when you know you go to Knoxville every weekend here.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's an honor to do that. But when you finally get to Eldora, it's like you're at another
Yep.
level. You know, that's just what that track is. What Earl built.
Yep. For
you
sure.
know? And so that's what I love about race fans. So we're so loyal and willing to help each other out in a pinch, and
Totally.
you know that's awesome for you. You get to see that firsthand, especially at Super Nationals. It gets
That's a trip.
a little rowdy
Yep.
up there.
That's beautiful.
Have you been part of where they throw the bits of steak up yet on the catwalk? When
No.
they're grilling the steak sandwiches, if they have a piece that gets loose off of it,
Oh.
they throw them up on the catwalk, and
Oh.
it's a dogfight for a little scrap of a steak sandwich. It is hilarious. You're gonna have to watch for that this year.
I guess.
Yeah.
I've seen people take their shirts off and throw them into the crowd. Is that the same?
I'd say that's a little different than fighting for a piece of steak, but I don't.
Some people call them steak.
That is true. Oh my, that is very true. So, again, Wade, thank you for joining.
Oh, you're
us
welcome,
tonight,
Safe.
talking
Thank you
about
for asking me.
racing,
I
and,
appreciate it.
Thank you. For,
Thanks, Steve-O. I appreciate you.
Steve-O, I like it.
Well, Aussies do that. We add O to everything. So you'd be Safe-O. Right, Steve-O.
And we're missing Nilo.
Jarrett would be Jazz. Like Gary is Gaza.
What would Neil be?
Probably Nilo,
Neil. What about Curtis?
Curdo.
Curdo? I like it. So we're missing Curdo and Nilo.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting.
Like Dylan is Dilzo.
What?
Dilzo
Dilzo?
with a Z, not a D. Just so you understand the
I
difference.
was a little worried there.
No, not Mama's Little Helper. It's Dilzo. I call Dylan Thornton Dilzo, and also yeah. Let's just leave it at that. Dilzo.
So what about Dallin?
He's Dallo
Dallo?
or Dalzo. Or Davey Allison, because that's what he looks like with that. with that
He
mic.
does. I think if we put side-by-side image up, it is pretty close.
He's been shaving for 10 years now and cut himself both times. Old Dallin, he runs that little itty. That Jeff Gordon had the same little itty bitty. Dallin's a phenomenal racer, and so is his old
Yes.
man.
Are we not lucky to have the drivers we have here in Iowa? I mean,
Yeah,
you know, and that's one thing we've always said on this show. The guys that run in Southeast Iowa, they go anywhere and they're a top 5 car.
Absolutely.
Because you have McGuire DeYoung, you have Braden and Caden, you have Carter, you have Colton Lizzie.
yep.
So a lot of just fantastic racers, and yeah, they go everywhere and they win.
Absolutely.
You know, so and again up north too, you have Dallin and Damon, Michael Jeanette.
Yep. Yeah, Michael out of Kellogg.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Michael. He's
an awesome guy.
yeah, he is, and so is his misso. She always she always cracks me up as well. He's
Yeah, with well hung gutters. I love the name of his company.
yes,
great.
and WAP on the back of the car, and
Yes, yeah. It makes a little
Brianna is
controversy there.
she's a trip. There's some great people in this industry, in this
Yeah.
sport, mate. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you for coming on tonight, Wade, and that's gonna wrap up tonight on
Wrap
TNT,
us up, Steve-O.
the Tuesday night tune-up. And Steve, why don't you go ahead and wrap it up?
Well, I was going to say
Steve-O.
the great way to wrap this up would be for Wade to lead us in the Aussie. So let's do it
you're
one
getting-
time.
There we go.
You
All
have
right.
to call out oi
Yes,
oi oi, right?
Safe and I will
We'll do the oi oi
Oh,
oi.
what could possibly go wrong here?
Nothing.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie!
Oi oi oi!
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie!
Oi oi oi!
Good. Got a little bit second hand then.
That's on him.
Good job, Steve-O. Well done, Safo.
Yes, we got the O's at the end of our name.
and put a plug in for your methanol moonshine.
Yeah, methanolmoonshine.com. We're also available at the Boone High-V, the Boone Fairway for the Super Nationals bottle, Knoxville High-V and Knoxville Fairway. You can get us at the Atlantic and Pacific Pub. They make cocktails there for us. It bottoms up there as well. Plus, Dingus even has us over the bar there as well.
Ah.
But we can actually ship it to your door as of yesterday. We can now mail it to you. So I'm pretty excited about
There
that.
you go. You don't even have to leave to buy your alcohol anymore. Just
God
order
bless
enough
America.
in. God bless America. There, that's the best inning we can have, folks. Again, thank you all for joining us on tonight. TNT, the Tuesday night tune-up.